What's up everybody? Welcome back to the 31 Days of R. I am your host Mood616 and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yeah, day 11 is here and I am really excited to do this film today because it's from the 90s. I haven't done a film from the 90s yet, and it's kind of a film that I really hear absolutely no one ever mention. It's probably because it doesn't have a Region 1 release that I know of. This Blu-ray that I'm going to talk about today is actually a German import, Region B, so unfortunately, I mean, it is readily available and actually very cheap, but you do need a Region Free player to watch this. And of course, the film in question here is from 1991, directed by Dan O'Bannon, and it is called The Resurrected. Yeah, love that cover art right there. It's just fantastic. This movie is also known as Shatterbrain. So it might have been released on VHS under Shatterbrain in Region 1 here. I'm not 100% sure. I've never seen the VHS before. And until recently, this is actually my first time watch. I've watched this film twice now. But yeah, I'd never actually seen this film. I always knew about it because Dan O'Bannon is, he's a very notable name in the horror realm. Of course, Dan O'Bannon's first film that he directed was, actually he's only ever directed 2 films, this one being the last one that he directed. His first film was Return to Living Dead, which is actually one of my favorite films of all time, probably number 2 or number 3 on my list. He's a very notable writer, though. He wrote like Alien, Dead and Buried, he wrote Total Recall, among films. He wrote a lot of things. I always wonder why Dan O'Bannon never got more notoriety, in the horror realm. I mean, he wrote a fair amount of stuff, but he probably could have done a lot more work. He actually passed away a bunch of years ago too, so which is kind of a shame. But yeah, The Resurrected basically is it's a adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft story. So if you're into H.P. Lovecraft, you definitely gotta check this out because pretty cool stuff. It's based off the story of the Charles Dexter Ward, the case of Charles Dexter Ward, which has actually been adapted before in the Vincent Price film, The Haunted Palace. Also kind of like, Reanimator in a sense also. So if you're familiar with those films, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into with this one. Basically what this one is about, it's about Charles Dexter Ward's wife. She's recently kind of left him. She's been away from him for a couple weeks because he's been doing a lot of really strange things and acting really strange. So she's left him and she's went and hired a PI, a private investigator, to go and investigate her husband because he's a chemical engineer and he's moved himself out to this this family cabin like way out in the woods that has been in his family for like 250 years, and he's kind of secluded himself out there. And the weird thing about what he's doing is that there's all these strange smells coming from his house. He's getting these deliveries at late night that look like coffins and just smells like rotting flesh, and everyone's been kind of complaining about the sound or the smell, and he's kind of freaking out the locals and things like that. And she wants to get to the bottom of this, so she's hired this private investigator because she loves her husband and she just wants to know the truth of what he's doing. So they start to investigate. They come across this basically they come across this this diary that may hold the truth to what he is doing in there, because there's a bunch of things written in there which I won't disclose. But so they go from there, and that's your film. Now, my thoughts on this film. This is a really excellent adaptation of the H.P. Lovecraft story, man. I really enjoyed this movie. I liked it so much I watched it twice, which is kind of rare. But I really enjoyed this film. I think all around it's just a really fantastic adaptation. Dan O'Bannon did a great job with this. The writing, of course, the film like this is going to have great writing because that's what he is. He's not just a director, he was also a writer. And, you can tell because the script is really fantastic in this. It whips along at a great pace. The story's very compelling. It's it's a very simple type story, but the way it develops itself, it's not like crazy suspenseful or anything, but it's very intriguing the whole time because you really want to know what Charles Dexter Ward is up to in there, and so you have a faint idea of what it is, but you really actually want to know fully what he's doing, and it kind of rips along at this great pace. It's just fantastic. Chris Sarandon, Sarandon, from Fright Night fame, and of course The Sentinel and things like that. He stars as Charles Dexter Ward in this film, and he kills the role. He plays it so well. Just amazing acting in this film. Dan O'Bannon's direction is just fantastic. The locations and the cinematography in this film are fantastic. He creates this really kind of gritty and grimy atmosphere, and you can almost smell the rotting flesh when you're watching this film. It's so cool how they did it. There's a lot of great kind of throwback scenes and stuff. And yeah, I just love the way this film kind of feels and it projects the atmosphere. It's just really fantastic. The effects in the film, really cool stuff. The last 45 minutes, you get to see a lot more of the effects and of what, you know, exactly is going on in this film. And there's some really cool effects. If you're a big fan of Return of the Living Dead and those type of effects, these ones are like a step up, I have to admit. They look really damn good. And some of the animatronics and things that they did with these bodies and things like that are just fantastic. It really went well with the film. And it's surprisingly actually quite gory in some scenes. Like, there's a scene at the end of this film, I'm not gonna give too much away, but where this dude's head gets ripped off, it has to be the single funniest thing. It's not even meant to be funny. Unlike, you know, Return of the Living Dead, this movie is not a comedy, it's played straightforward, so. But this part, the way this guy loses his head is just fucking hilarious. Both times I watched it, I burst out laughing, it's pretty funny. But yeah, it is actually quite gory. The blood looks really good, the effects, you know, the gore, it looks awesome. It looks really damn good, so. But all around, just a fantastic film. Really great writing. The direction is awesome. But you know, for a film that's over 100 minutes, it clips along at a great pace, and that's what kind of sells this film. It's very intriguing. It's not like slow, and it kind of gets into it. And actually, one of the PIs, guy that works with him in this film, I don't know, kind of a sidekick, whatever, is the dude from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Mike Damone, you know, that little shady-ass character in the film. He's in this film, and he does a really good job. That guy's actually a really underrated actor. He's actually pretty good in this. So all around, acting fantastic. Just, there's really nothing bad to say about this one. At all, man. I highly recommend this. If you're a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft films, definitely check this out, especially if you're a fan of The Haunted Palace and Reanimator, or just like I said, H.P. Lovecraft in general. Generally, the adaptations of the films are really good. This is probably one of the better ones, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is actually one of the better films from the 90s. I know we always criticize the 90s as being such a dismal decade for horror films, and you know, really overall, there wasn't an abundance of great horror. There was a lot of good films in the 90s, but, you know, as the 90s as a whole was kind of a letdown. But this one really does stick out, even though it's in the early 90s, and it definitely has that 90s vibe to it. The music in this feels like early 90s kind of thriller music and things. It just goes so well. I don't know if you can kind of hear it in the background, but that's kind of like the theme music to it. But it works so well in this film. And yeah, like I said, I couldn't recommend this one enough. If I had to rate this one, I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. Definitely now one of my favorite H.P. Lovecraft adaptations. Absolutely love this one. Don't want to give anything else away from it, but man, I really love the way this film ended up, and you know, just the whole story of it and stuff. And Chris Sarandon just absolutely kills this roles in this film. So that's what I'll say about this one. But check out The Resurrected if you can get your hands on this. Like I said, it's a Region 2 Blu-ray. It does look really good. There is some features on here, deleted and extended scenes and things like that, and some interviews and things like that. So that's actually really cool that they actually have features for this too. So, and the PQ does look really damn good. As far as I know, if there was a VHS, if there was a release, I've read somewhere that it's like full frame and things like that, but this one does look really damn good. So, but The Resurrected, I am carrying on here. This video's gone on way too long, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, but check it out. Definitely one of my new favorite films from the 1990s. Absolutely love it. And now I did a top 10 in 1991, Top 10s Tuesday, a long time ago. Now that thing is completely void because this movie's not even in that top 10, so I'm going to have to redo that sometime. But who knows? But anyways, guys, I am just rambling on, and I will check you guys tomorrow in day 12, and I am really, really excited about day 12. Actually, the film I'm doing, not going to give it away, but check it out. Hope to see you guys there, and as usual, peace!